Hi, I'm Jonathan Miles. I'm Rear Commodore at North Devon Yacht Club. So that basically means I'm responsible for things that go on the water. And that involves sailing as well as motorboating and kayaking and surfboarding and any other activities that we can generate on the water. So this summer been a busy year. We've actually recovered from the COVID periods very well. There's been open week running with over 40 entries. We've had increased numbers of people out racing. We've run a sprint national championships this year with 42 boats racing. And most significantly, we've had a very active training program running throughout the year for both adults and cadets. And this year we introduced a follow-on training scheme which allowed adults that had been through the training programs to actually continue training. So we were looking for a way to enhance their experience in the club and to keep them as members and to retain their membership. In the past, when people went through training, they tended to disappear from the club because they didn't have their own boats, they had no means of getting on the water, and no follow-on activities arranged for them. So now under Simon Fleet, we've had a follow-on training program that has run over 10 Saturdays throughout the summer. Started off with about 8 people involved and built throughout the end of the year to over 50 people involved in follow-on training. So it's been a huge success. So next year, the plan for this is to rename it actually as Follow-On Sailing. And it'll be aimed again at those adults and people coming through the training programs to actually allow them to continue sailing throughout the year, but in a structured and organized manner. The graduates from follow-on training this year will actually be going into a scheme called Just Sail. And this is recognizing the fact that we don't have the capacity to carry on expanding follow-on sailing bigger and bigger with a demand of over 50 people this year. So next year, follow-on sailing will be for the training groups coming forward, and Just Sail will be for the graduates of the follow-on sailing group. And that will enable them to have an organized activity on the water. Some of them may be racing, some of them may be just cruising in company, but nevertheless organized in some way, shape or form on Sundays. We're also looking to revitalize the youth squad. We don't have an active name for it yet, but whether it's youth squad or cadet fleets or whatever it'll be, and that will be run alongside the follow-on sailing activities. We also have our prize giving coming up in November. We'll be celebrating the events and successes of all the sailors that have been on the water, predominantly in the dinghy fleets with the various series that have been running throughout the year. But there's also events and recognition for the motorboats and for the cruising people with the best cruising logs and so forth. So that's coming up in November. One of the things I'm quite keen to try to encourage is looking at the motorboats and the cruising fleets to try to ensure that they are well represented in what we're trying to do. So next year again, Lundy passes, Clovelly passes and so forth will be supported by the club. There will be the Clovelly Rally for the Clovelly Cup racing that'll take place as part of the Maritime Festival at Clovelly. And I would hope that we might be able to arrange some organised cruising in company, potentially to Lundy or something like that, that can actually be a little bit more structured for those who would like it to be. Another great success this year has been the training fleets, particularly with Jackie and with the sailing training and also the powerboat training. And we've had a large cohort of people that have been through the various training activities, and then culminating really in cadet weeks, where we had 3 weeks of cadet racing or cadet training, culminating in Pelican Week, which had about 20 people racing, 20 boats racing actually, for the cadets. And personally I was hugely impressed with the quality of some of the racing. It was actually more competitive than a Sunday out there with the rest of the adult fleets. So that was really great to watch. The one thing that we have achieved is that we've got slightly better organisation, and you'll see as when you wander around the boat park out there that the racing dinghies are now aligned around the tender, where the tenders used to be on the wall, and the cats are in a confined area. And we've packed and stacked an awful lot of catamarans this summer, or this winter as we come into the winter, to ensure that there's the maximum amount of space available for yachts and cruisers coming in. But it is a tough thing to arrange. And Peter Short, to be fair, does an absolutely fantastic job in Instow Marine. We're also well supported now by Steve Ettling, who's taken over as the boat park manager this year, so the boat park officer. And that's going to bring about some upgrades in the way we do things in the future. Looking forward now as well to next year. Planning for the calendar next year will be starting now. We will be bringing forward the calendar by the end of November this year. And the easiest way to access this actually is through the new website, through the calendar. Everything is administered, all events are detailed, all tide tables are available through the calendar and the new website. So do go and take a look at the new website, take a look at the calendar, see what's going on, and join us in the bar. We look forward to seeing you. Red Wing, this is Tower. Yeah, I presume the boy's just round the corner where I can't quite see it. Is that right?